Is a political strategist and former advisor to the Middle East peace envoy Tony Blair. He joins us now live from London. Thank you very much indeed for your time. Are you clear about how this board of peace is going to work? Because information about it has been released in drips and drabs, and there's a lot of confusion over executive boards and indeed what the board of peace will do beyond Gaza.
Well, look, frankly, there just needs to be a wholesale rejection of any form of international trusteeship of the Gaza Strip, right? The future of Palestine should only be decided by Palestinians. And frankly, it appears the only qualification for joining this current board of peace, this executive board, is to have a strong track record of endorsing and arming Israel's project of genocide, apartheid, ethnic cleansing, and frankly, criminalizing anyone who opposes it. Trump's Gaza's board of peace, for me, is a pilot project too. You mentioned, he wants to sell seats on it and expand on it. Frankly, all states who signed off on his peace deal, his ceasefire, are the ones who paved the way for Trump's next boards of peace, because he wants to use this as a model in Venezuela, Ukraine, or any other place that the extractionist American regime wants to take next. Like, you could use this in Greenland. He is creating something where he would fill it with people of like-minded extractionist mentality, could just operate in a country, build what they want to build under the guise of peace. But the problem here is, when we all signed off on that ceasefire, that peace deal, this was kind of in that negotiation process. And so many of those countries who are allies who are now freaking out about the $1 billion fee or the terms that he set out now have already endorsed it without actually looking at the details.
Yes, and it's always transactional with Donald Trump, and so it proves, given that he's invited, we understand, dozens of countries and asked for that $1 billion fee if they want to remain for more than 3 years. There is another body, of course, that's been set up to oversee the post-war administration and governance in Gaza. That is this so-called Palestinian Committee of Technocrats. But not one Palestinian has any involvement in the other executive bodies. And clearly that will be a problem selling this idea to anybody in Palestine.
100%. I mean, look, this was never built for Palestine. This is built to effectively continue the ethnic cleansing of the Gaza Strip and the rest of Palestine in the future. That's what this board is. And it was done under the guise of selling peace. The fundamental truth here is, while Donald Trump is like outwardly selling what this is, while he is, he's full of property dealers on that board, from his own son-in-law to Steve Witkoff. While he is a negotiator, he also is a property tycoon in his own right. It's full of people who know how to extract resources from other parts of the world. And he's basically saying, this piece of land's for sale. We need to finish the job there. Let Israel do what it needs to do, and we'll make sure that you can benefit from this. And the goal is, if you want to benefit from, in Gaza's case, maybe the gas, you sign up $1 billion here, you'll have access to us and the gas that might be available there. That's why I go back to the point. This was designed to be the test run, the pilot project for anywhere else he decides to do this. And then, you mentioned, some of the Palestinian technocratic board that really won't have any say. But look at the people also politically who are on the board of peace. Tony Blair, one of my former bosses. Blair being on the board of peace is like putting an arsonist in charge of rebuilding the home he burnt down. There is a reason the majority of the Middle East calls him the butcher of Baghdad. He should be nowhere near Gaza, Palestine, because he's toxic, not just to the Middle East, everywhere. He should be on trial right now at The Hague for the 1 million Iraqis that he is partly responsible for the death of or murder of. And do I think, when you think about hiring someone like that to be one of your permanent members of the executive board, you're sending a signal that this is about, continued extraction, making money for Western institutions and Western leaders. And look, Tony Blair, for a lot of people, is the embodiment of British imperialism in the 21st century, in a suit, cutting deals to steal land, extract resources, and line his pockets.
Ashish, really good to have you on TRT World. Thanks very much indeed for joining us. Pleasure to speak to you.